They say performance has an expiration date, but what if they're wrong? No matter where you start, the goal's the same: to be better, stronger, wiser, bolder. We're here for the relentless, those that don't back down, don't compromise, and don't quit. This is training for Masters athletes by Masters athletes, with a community that holds you steady. So say goodbye to random workouts, because whether you're stepping into following a program for the first time or stepping onto the podium, your journey starts here.
Welcome back to Masters in Motion podcast. I'm Jason Grubb. I'm here with Rick Stevenson and special guest today, Micah Shoemaker. We are super excited to jump into what's next for Masters athletes in this qualification season. We just finished quarterfinals. We'll touch on that for a minute and how fun that was, and some pluses and minuses and all that kind of stuff. We'll talk a bit about that. But then we really want to push into semifinals, especially in-person semifinals. What that looks like. Micah runs one of the only Masters only. The only one that is just Masters of the 5 semifinals that Masters could participate. The only one that's solely for Masters athletes. We'll get all the details about Magic City and the other in-person events. And then we'll definitely touch on, as I look at my calendar over here that's jam-packed, the in-affiliate semifinals as well. Welcome, gents.
Thanks for having me,
Good to see you. Good to see you both.
Quarterfinals done this past weekend. I mean, it's Thursday when we're recording now. To me, quarterfinals feels like a couple weeks ago, but it was just Sunday when we were wrapping those things up. Rick, how was your experience?
It happened. Let's leave it at that. No, it was good. It was a good experience. Always disappointed when it's 4, not 5. I just think I like to cram more work in. It doesn't mean that performance might be any better, but I just think it's one more logistical hurdle for athletes to consider and another toll on the body. But 4 tests, and I'll tell you one last thing here. Got to get your opinions too. As getting to the end of an age group, older, now this time working with the elites, everybody had the same workouts. Every time I do this, it surprises me how much of it is a race for them. And I'm just, me personally, I'm just trying to get through this work. Yes, in a fast fashion, but they turned it into sprints. And that's 35 years ago. You just can't move like that now. It's crazy.
Yeah. Was it, which one was your favorite to see? Was it Colton Mertens just sprinting burpees, or was it watching the Boys Interrupted just destroy the bar muscle up workout?
Well, watching, I think I sent you the video, watching Tudor destroy the deadlift double under workout. And was racing special. With intention, but from bar to rope, back and forth. And I think I heard a little post by Paige Rogers today. She said she wasn't out of breath on that one. I'm like, not in my world, not even close. So.
Yeah, I definitely felt that. I definitely felt that one. And I've watched Tudor do 1,000 double unders unbroken in person. So if there's anyone in the world that's going to crush this workout, it's him. His double unders are magical.
Yes, absolutely.
And did you know that he has engineered his own rope, actually? So he's an engineering student, and you take a jump rope that has its. If you're watching this on video, you've got your jump rope, and the rope just dangles off of a loop on the end. If it's an RX mark, it just dangles off the end, right? He has created an angle joint there. So the actual, there's this little elbow that the rope attaches to, and that entire elbow spins. So the rope is always it's going to spin completely vertically. If you're holding it vertical, the rope will spin in this beautiful vertical direction. And he has just found from tinkering that this is the best way for him to jump rope. And, we would say like, gosh, is that a hack or what? It doesn't matter. If you look at the way he does double unders, they're perfect.
Yeah. Hands are frozen. Right.
Literally, hands are perfect. And then I was showing, okay, this is the last time I'm going to talk about it. So I showed my wife Tudor's, and I was like, hey, you want to watch me do it? And I showed her my video, and I looked like a penguin trying to do double unders. I was like, this is really bad. I got to work on these. It was pretty rough looking. So
yeah, We jump
that wasn't
unnecessarily high, and your arms, when you get fatigued, start to
And
widen out. I'm like,
I had a little bit of a fish. I had a little bit of a hollow position that I was doing, a little feet forward business. No, we're solving this immediately. Micah, you did some or all of the workouts?
Did 3 of the workouts in preparation to kind of help those that were relying on me. So when they came out on, I guess, Monday, I went ahead and did one then, and then did a couple on Tuesday. Just to be clear, I was not submitting scores for everyone that's going, you cheated and this and that and a third.
no.
I did not. I was not submitting. So, but, I like to understand the pain a little bit. And, I really think there were a lot of opinions, as there always are with these workouts that come out. Hell, there's a lot of opinions about my workouts, right? And that sure will put out. But here's the reality is this is the test that you're being given. And whether you like it or not is irrelevant.
It's the test in front of you.
And so and I'm not being a hater, but I just think that realistically, I think, we kind of have to take a step back and just say, hey, look, this is a step in the grand plan of, me getting to the CrossFit Games, for those at the top, that's the goal. And I think that's how the best look at it is it's just the next step, and I don't think you hear the people at the top really complaining. I think it's the people in the middle.
Yeah, good point.
So that's my kind of thoughts on quarterfinals as a whole.
Favorite event, anyone?
Go ahead, Rick.
My best result was one that hurt the most, which was the bar muscle up and the dumbbell hang squat cleans. So am I supposed to like it the most? I don't know. It's just, I mean, we've all done dumbbell hang squat cleans in past, but I don't think that it has been an emphasis in training anytime with much regularity for a lot of folks. So I think that was a little bit of a curveball to most of the community. How about you two?
Yeah, that's interesting. It's as we know now, Boz enjoys these 3-2-1 style workouts, right? 3 rounds. Like it's been a pretty safe. He also typically likes deadlifts as his strength of choice. At least that's my observation of the last several years. And personally, I thought that one was the only one that was a true sprint. And I know people say, well, the shuttle run was, but look, it has the minute of rest in there, so I don't really count that. But I mean, right. But from doing the deadlift workout, that was the definition of all gas, no brakes. I mean, so to me, that one, simply because when it started to hurt, you were done.
Yes.
Fair. And you felt it the next day. I did, at least.
Yeah. Jason, I was going to ask real quick, did you do the deadlift workout before the hang clean or vice versa?
No way.
Okay. All right.
No way. Hang clean first.
I figured.
I ensured when I was thinking through the order, every workout had a way of overlapping, and that's just the magic of qualifiers. Like there's no clean, perfect order. I just knew that I did not want to do 2, which was the dumbbell hang cleans, and 3, the deadlifts, in a back-to-back way. I wanted a day between those. No matter what, I needed a day between them. So that's what I did. And I've never had my hurt just be so destroyed by a workout than the dumbbell hang clean and the bar muscle up workout. It was afterwards, I rarely lay on the floor, but I was laying on the floor after that because it did have a little bit, like at the very end, you just wanted to collapse. It was just so much work. But then it was just the grip that was just destroyed. Really, my favorite, Mike, I think my favorite was the double under deadlift. And it was one of those that the first 3 rounds were like this kind of mini buy-in. And when I got to the 275-pound bar, people in the gym were shocked. I made this guttural, almost yell when I picked up that first 275. Like it just, I'm breathing heavy because of double unders, and then I'm compressing with that barbell. And I just fired off a Braveheart type yell and then repped through those. I did the same thing on almost every rep at 315, where it wasn't like it was that heavy. It was just, I am never putting down this barbell, and I am going to finish these 10. I don't care how much noise I've got to make. And by the way, I'm making a lot of noise right now, and it's over. This is like the workout.
So,
10
reps.
10 reps. I'm never putting that barbell down, but it was, I did like the 3-2-1. I really liked how that one went. I also liked the burpee workout as well. It was the only one I retested, and I did the retest for fun because I was like, man, what would it be like if I just went full send on the burpees? What does that do? And turns out it really makes it hard for the second set of burpees. That's for sure. So in doing that entire workout twice, the first half I shaved 20 seconds off, and the second half it's the same speed as my first test. So it almost didn't matter what I did in the first half. The second half was still just a little bit dirty, and my last set of shuttle runs looked like an injured giraffe.
Yeah, yes,
It looked
yes.
bad. It was. I didn't. It's just not, and it's not anything I want anyone to see. So no one needs to see a 50-year-old man shuttle running after that kind of work. Rick.
People say when you watch yourself do something like that, you're like, oh, I always thought I was moving faster than I really was.
Nope.
In the moment, I knew I wasn't moving fast. And then when I watched my video back, it confirmed that. I was like, I don't know why the legs didn't work. It was not pleasant.
There's a kid in our gym. I call him a kid. He's like 25. So he was he was a baseball player. And you've never seen anyone do shuttle runs as beautiful as this guy. I mean, his shuttle runs are gorgeous. And this is just literally, what you think you look like. I think I look like Austin. What I actually look like is a drunk Babe Ruth, probably.
Yeah.
Moving on, guys, the quarterfinals is over. I think we could talk about that so much. We could critique. We could talk about video review, lack of video review. I think that's been talked to death. I am really curious in jumping into semifinals because as I think about the calendar, the first in-person semifinals is 3 weeks from tomorrow. And then the week after that is another semifinals. The week after that is an in-affiliate semifinals, and it just gets rolling. So, Micah, I want to turn it over to you. And since we've had you on the show before, but for those that are unfamiliar, like, who are you? Why would we bring you on the show? I know why I did, but tell us about yourself and maybe some of your background, a little bit about the competitions that you have put on and how you've really been moving in the competition space, and then how it came about that you're doing a Masters qualifier, and then we'll jump into details on these qualifiers.
Been in the CrossFit space for over a decade. I co-owned one of the most successful training companies in brute strength for quite a few years, and we had some really great success, some really great athletes that had some great success during that time. In 2020, started a competition here in Birmingham, Alabama, that has since grown to be something way cooler and wilder than I could have ever imagined. And here we are going into year 5 as the Magic City Games, and we host 2 events. We host a semifinal that will qualify Masters athletes to the CrossFit Games in San Jose, California. And then we also host a community event, which has its own qualifier later in the year in July. So I'm excited to be here with you guys and talk a little bit about semifinals for Masters.
That's awesome, man. Thank you. And you were one of the pioneers in having the first conversation, or at least the first conversation from my perspective that really landed with CrossFit about doing in-person semifinals. You and I had talked about that, and you initiated something. And whether it was just the stars aligned or it was right time, right place, but that conversation, I remember you and I had that. You sent an email off to, I believe, Dave Castro, and then there was this positive response, and then the snowball, like, this is happening. Holy smokes. So really cool. Appreciate your just taking a leap forward on that. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, I remember that conversation very well in your sauna, actually.
In the sauna. Some sort of insane sauna session with cold plunging, but I'm just gonna say the sauna was too hot. We were in there too long, but it was great, bro. It was great. Absolutely loved it. So, love to see where this is going. Now, tell us about Masters in-person semifinals. We've got different ways to qualify to these events. Start in any order you'd like. You could lead with Magic City or go in chronological order, but what does this look like for Masters athletes now that the quarterfinals are over? We know that the top 400 get an invite to in-affiliate semifinals, but how does this in-person stuff work?
Yeah, so I think first, I like to think of it as kind of a, bigger blocks down to the smaller blocks. And the bigger blocks are this, right? There are Legends Championship in Del Mar. There's Magic City in Birmingham, Alabama. There's French Throwdown in Paris. There's Torium Pro in Australia, and then you've got LATAM as well in Colombia. And so each of those represent, some sort of master's involvement, but the way you qualify could not be more different for each one. Literally, each one actually has a different process. So it's not as cut and dry as I think some people would want. And so on behalf of all semifinal people, I apologize on behalf of us. So,
hey, I think this is, this is with all semifinals, even outside of Masters. There's various qualifications, invitations, all of that. So
yeah,
at least it's consistently inconsistent.
Yeah.
Right.
So you tell me how deep of this rabbit hole you want to go down, because I'm prepared. I've got a full-on spreadsheet in front of me.
Okay, well, let's go with the first semifinal. Del Mar Legends. It's the first one that shows up on the calendar. I mean, I am attending that. I've accepted an invitation. I believe that I was invited because of my placement at the CrossFit Games last year.
That's right.
And this is what I know.
Yeah. So essentially, they're having a field of 30 and 30 men and women, right? For age groups 35 to 54, and then after that, 15 and 15 for 55 and older. And so they had a mix of past games champions, right? Plus the top of the leaderboard. In the bigger divisions, right, where they're taking 30, they would take 20 off the leaderboard. And in the smaller divisions, it was only 10, right? So how that shook out, we don't know yet, because I'm sure they're like us. They're in the process of inviting, but that's how that semifinal worked.
Gotcha. So if I take a look at their leaderboard right now, I see a handful of athletes in my division that have accepted. And what I'm assuming is these are invites from the past games that have accepted this championship. The rest remains open, it looks like, for quarterfinal qualifier invites, which you're not in control of that, which will go at some point at their leisure, or whenever CrossFit provides that, whatever that looks like.
Well, just a quick clarification. It's up to the semifinal to invite. CrossFit does not do that. So just to be very clear for everyone listening, if you're expecting an invite, it's not coming from CrossFit. At least for that's like Legends, right? It's going to come from Legends. Magic City, it's going to come from Magic City. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Makes sense.
And they will do their best to fill the fields of 30 and 30 and 15 and 15. If there have been people from past games placements that have turned it down, and some of those folks are the same on the quarterfinal leaderboard, like Jason is an example of that, they will continue to backfill until they reach their 30, 15, 15.
Correct. So, I mean, that's why if you're sitting number 60, like, you have a great chance. I mean, like, or 70, you have a really good chance, because I know for us in the younger age groups, we're taking fields of 42. Like, so let's just take Jason's age group, right? 50 to 54. Like, let's say the first 20 all go to Legends. Well, guess what? Now I'm backfilling into, potentially the 70s, right? So definitely keep an eye out on your socials and your email inbox, because that's
good for people to know.
It makes it really interesting because it does dig into the it digs into the leaderboard a little bit more. And I mean, I know that historically, it's only been the past couple of years that I've been able to really dial myself in to qualifiers. I historically had done poorly in qualifiers. In 2019, I barely made the games, and 2018, I barely made the games. It was just, I was not great at qualifiers. I've gotten better the further I've gotten, but I think I would have had better chances if I had in-person competitions. Always thinking, like, if I can see you, I can chase you down. And so it's interesting to me to think about some of the athletes that may not perform as well in qualifiers, but may come to an in-person competition and show up, just a dark horse that wins the race. You're like, oh man, who's this guy? Well, they compete better in person than they do in qualifiers, which is kind of the magic in my mind of having in-person qualifiers. Okay, so Legends, They did not have a qualifier. The people that have accepted invitations were based on previous performance at the CrossFit Games and then backfilling with quarterfinals leaderboard. Done. Magic City is the following week. Micah, you are May 1st through May 3rd, correct?
Yes, sir.
Tell us what that looks like.
So for us, I think we were one of the first to put out how we were doing things. And we wanted to make it really clear. Age groups 35 to 44, we're going to take 42 of each. From 45 to 59, we're going to take 28 of each. 60 to 64 is 14 of each, and 65 plus is going to be 7 of each. And let me tell you something. My DMs have been blowing up the last 2 days of people, and I'm not writing me explaining why they should get a spot. Like, this is, I feel like I'm the batch.
Interesting.
I'm being, I mean, it's like novels. I'm getting novels.
Oh boy.
Welcome to the Masters world, bro.
Yeah. And I'm just like, that's awesome. And I appreciate it. And I'm humbled, and I am. But like, at the end of the day, because this is, I know your next question, how are you doing it? We're going to start at number 1 and we're going to go down. And if I have to go into the 200s, I'll go into the 200. So that's what I'm saying. If you're on that leaderboard and you qualified, there is a shot for you.
And people better be paying attention, because I imagine your turnaround time is going to be rather quick because we're counting down days here. Okay.
Yeah, we don't, unfortunately, there's a lot that has to happen, whether it's athlete jerseys or, like, we don't have time. So we got,
It's a quick turnaround. Now, since we have you, okay, so we're generally talking about how people qualify to semifinals, in-person semifinals, and we'll get to the next one. Maybe we'll talk about in-affiliate semifinals after Magic City, but give us some juicy nuggets about Magic City, okay? You've got the mic, and I just want to preface this with, I've seen you in action for the past couple of years running the community event for Magic City Games. And for a community event, it was beyond top notch. It's an insanely good competition, well done, professional. Every once in a while come over to you like, dude, this is a community competition, right? Because it's run like a CrossFit Games event. That's the level of expectation that I'm going to share with people that do come to Magic City. So now I'm going to hand it over to you to meet that expectation.
Well, it's funny because right in front of me, or in front of you now, is all the workouts. We QA'd them today. We QA'd the scorecards.
Did you want to turn that around, or did you want to show it? It's facing the wrong direction, Micah.
They're all right here. All of them. They're all right here. And that's going to be good. So here's the big thing. And, we will break some stuff on this podcast, because I'm always good for that. I'll even tell you when I'm going to release the workouts. How about that?
Let's go.
I haven't put this out publicly, so this will be the first time I'm going to get my calendar up, because I want to actually give the right date. The workouts will be released on April the 22nd. There you go.
Wow, very cool.
April 22nd is when you can expect them.
That's going to give you, essentially Thursday, that's going to give you 8 days, or really a full week. Yeah, full week.
That's fair. Yeah, sure.
So
how many events? Are you going to share how many events?
Yeah, sure. The younger guys and gals will do 6, and the older age groups will do 5.
Perfect.
I think we make the delineation at 55. Don't quote me on that, but I'm
okay.
But I'm pretty sure it's 55 is where we cut to 5 events, but everyone else does 6.
I do have some fun information. Someone asked me if we were swimming at Del Mar, and I texted Joe and I said, "Hey, are we swimming at Del Mar? I might as well just ask, right?" And he said, no, we're not swimming in Del Mar. He just straight up said, I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, CrossFit's put the X on any open water swims. So you can take that for what it's worth. So there you go. But we do have access to a pool that's not open water. So it's interesting.
It's good to know. And we will say, and I will say, and I'll verify that you have had pool swims in historical Magic City events.
Yeah, no, our safety and medical team is, shout out to them. They're unbelievable human beings. And I think that's the business. That's why we hire them, because they advise us on all that stuff. We got, actually, this is interesting. I've never shared this. We got a lot of pressure after the tragedy in 2025 to pull the pool swim. And I got together with my leadership and we spoke long and hard about it, and we chose to keep the pool swim in. It was a week after the game because we were confident in what we were asking our athletes to do. We had tested it, and it's also a controlled environment, such as the pool. And we had, and this is not an exaggeration, we had a lifeguard. It was like a 2-to-1. So for every 2 people, we had a lifeguard. So I mean, it was like
eyes on.
Yeah, but we wanted to make sure everyone felt safe. And, I said, hey, look, if you don't feel comfortable, I'm happy to refund your money, but like, we're not going to not do it because, you don't agree with me,
but this is a very different environment to swim in a pool.
Yeah.
Than
totally different environment. So there's that. But the other thing is, to get to some fun things, is, we historically have brought outdoor biking into play. And so if you want to be at Magic City, let me tell you, it ain't like riding a bike like they say. It's different. If you've never ridden a bike competitively, it's different. It's not the same as, I can ride a bike. A lot of people can ride a bike. Can you ride a bike when your heart rate's 185 and you got people next to you?
Yeah.
It's a totally different experience. So, if you're interested in coming, you should consider riding a bike.
All things.
Yes.
Can please refresh us, because last time you had us on, you let us know where the competition is, because it is such an outstanding venue that will allow you to have different fields of play, and it's a pretty big space, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, so it's called the Birmingham Crossplex.
Yeah.
Yep, the Birmingham Crossplex is a kind of a multi-event space, right? So they have a 200-meter indoor track, they have an Olympic pool, and then they have a 5,000-seat arena. And historically, we've used all of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because we checked the website out afterwards, and it was pretty impressive. I know, Jason, you've been it, but to me, looking at it, I was like, okay, that is top notch. That looks.
It's going to be one hell of an experience. I mean, ironically enough, when CrossFit was going to move the games to Birmingham for that 1 week that they announced that, if y'all remember that, that's one of the venues they were going to use, to put it in perspective.
Okay. Very fair.
So,
everything under one roof makes sense.
I happened to just get a text message. I glanced over and I happened to see one from a fellow athlete, 45, 49-year-old. Should I start doing some sort of biking to get ready for Magic City? Very funny that I happened to glance at that text message, and we happen to be talking about it right now. It's not a live show. Mr. David Johnston will give you a shout out. It's, let's see where we're at in this recording. Minute 29 or minute 27. You probably want to take a look at that, David Johnston. Okay, so Micah, great fun of interesting events, incredible venue, really, really incredible venue. And there's some potential fun on the field. Anything else you want to say about Magic City before we move on to an affiliate?
I don't know. Just ask me something and maybe I'll answer it.
3 days. 3 days competition.
Yes,
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
May 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Yep.
Man, I could go down some rabbit holes.
Just go.
Any 2-scored events?
I'm looking at the workouts. No 2-scored events. Only
no
2-scored. And most of them, like the vast majority, are old regionals and or individual games workouts.
You had mentioned that. So that is a big reveal.
That's right.
This is time to get AI on that, create a list of all the regional and games workouts ever in existence. What would be best to do? Make sure you do every single one of them. And what would be best? So, Micah, in Birmingham, Alabama, you've lived here longer than I have. The beginning of May is probably one of the most beautiful times to be out here. But what can we expect weather-wise, and do athletes need to anticipate wearing sunscreen?
Sunscreen for sure. Weather, it's usually in the low to mid 80s. So it's hot, but it's not if you've ever been to Madison, for those that have qualified, it's hotter in August, substantially, than it is in May. Now, I'm not saying it's cool here in May. If you have experienced that and you've been on North Park, it's not.
Oh my God. Yeah.
80% of the events are inside in the AC. So you don't have to worry about it.
Cool. Right.
Okay.
That sounds good. We'll get a little sweaty, and there might be a thunderstorm, and that's just exciting. Thunderstorms out around here are just great. All right, let's let's jump into the in-affiliate semifinals.
Yes.
It's the week after. So we literally have 3 weeks of semifinals in a row.
Yep. Following week.
In-affiliate semifinals is Thursday through Monday. I think it's a very similar schedule as quarterfinals.
It is.
We don't know anything about when they're going to release those the way that they did with quarterfinals. What we do know specifically is the judging standards will be the same as they were last year for in-affiliate semifinals. L1 judge has to judge you with the judges course or an advanced judges course. The head judge has to have the advanced judges course at an L1 and be present. So 2 judges present in every video, has to be videoed. All that same stuff as last year. Am I missing anything in there, guys?
At an affiliate in good standing.
Yeah,
obviously.
Affiliate in good standing.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, look, here's the thing. And I'm curious what you guys think from your perspective. Would you rather go take your chance online, or would you rather go in person? I'm really curious your guys' perspective on this and why.
Yep. Rick, go ahead.
Okay. From my perspective, I will say in an effort to qualify for the games, I would rather try the online because more spots are available. Granted, you're competing against a larger pool of athletes, though.
Yeah.
I know myself, and I think each athlete has to ask themselves this: do you compete better in person or do you compete better online? And I'm trying to run both sides of the fence here. I do like to compete more in person, but you're asking people to be in the top 1 or 2 or 1, 2, or 3, depending on the age groups.
Yeah, sure.
And out of the field of 30, that, is for a lot of athletes a pretty tall ask. But that doesn't take away the experience that you're going to get from going to a very well-run, high-level, in-person semifinal. And as a community, I think it's really important that we rally around the in-person semis because we haven't been afforded that in the past. We've asked. It's here. Schedule may not make a lot of sense to people, but we know that there was a reason behind that. But let's embrace it because it's going to be probably here for the next few years to come.
So, yeah.
Did not mean to step all over that, but that's my 2 cents.
I asked. Yeah. It wasn't a rhetorical question. I appreciate your candor. Yeah, for sure.
And Rick, I would prefer in person. And of course, I'm on the same page as you, Rick. If we have our perfect world, we would like that setup that CrossFit has over time evolved to for the individuals, where you have in-person competitions and then you have a last chance.
Last chance qualifier. Yep.
That is obviously, I think, the order that we want, and I'm sure that's what CrossFit wants. Just it takes some time for that to evolve, given the schedule, the availability of venues for semifinals. I'm definitely a person that competes better in person, but I want to say, to answer that question, I like both, and I do like the idea of a last chance qualifier. I like the fact that if I am sick, if I travel and I get to a competition and I don't perform well, something happens, I tweak something that week, get sick, whatever, there is a chance for me to give it another go because I want as many opportunities as possible to get there. And so I do like that format. Ideally, we don't get sick, we don't get injured and all that. Very much like that. Rick and I are definitely, I think, also living in a world where it would be so great if there were 40 athletes in each one of our divisions at the games. So that we'd had more of a pool. And we had that last year. We had just huge amounts of athletes at the games in Columbus, the most we've ever had. And so if we had 40 athletes qualifying, I know they made cuts this year for particular reasons, but that opens up more spots at each competition, more opportunities for the in-person or the in-affiliate. But these are all adjustments that it feels like CrossFit will find their trajectory on all this eventually.
And bringing everybody together this year for the 20th in San Jose could have been a driver with sizes and numbers, not knowing what is the convention center, something like that.
Yep.
That the age groups will be in, and it could be size of fields and ability to get through heat times.
And it is, Rick. Yeah. It's all of those things, and the amount of volunteers it takes to run, literally us, the games, the teenagers, the adaptive. This is like 2 weeks of volunteers all converging in one. And that's a lot. I mean, I haven't run an event. Micah, you've got some experience.
If you have to shrink, you're going to shrink this year.
Look,
understand why.
Look, man, I think the toughest thing, right, is the sheer amount of volunteers that are needed for these sorts of things and to do it well. I mean, I know for us, we run a little bit over 150 volunteers, right? Which is, yeah, like when you say that,
that's a
it's
lot.
wild. And then usually we have about 18 to 22 staff members, right? So those are people in like leadership roles that are, have very fine, kind of roles there that we can. So, I mean, when you really understand that and you go, okay, hey, we want more of this and more of that, more of that. Well, like there's also a demand downstream as well. So, again, I think what's important here and what I want to echo, and both of you said this in different ways. It's like, hey, the system before was you get 1 week in a year as a master's. And if you don't perform, tough crap. You're out.
You're out.
Now you have some options. You can go cool places like French Throwdown or, right. You can go to West Coast, you can go to East Coast. Like there are some really cool things. And so, I would just encourage everyone listening, like take advantage of those things. If you're close, drive, show up, be a part of the action. That is what's going to keep these things viable and around. Is like we as the community, if you want to see it, if you want to be a part of it, go to it, go volunteer, go show up, like support those things are really important for the viability of, in my opinion, just kind of the master's growth in general.
Cool. Affiliate. And affiliate is done. What comes next?
Check the box.
So what comes next after that is going to be the Torian Pro, and their qualification process, just to quickly hit it, was you had to take your quarterfinal scores and put them in their competition corner leaderboard, and then they would invite you off of that. So there was like an extra step. Now, I don't know if that is since passed, so you have to look if you're interested in that. But that was theirs. After that, just gonna, if it's okay with you, move right along.
Go. Yep.
Great. Awesome. So after that, we're looking at actually
French.
Yeah. And actually I kind of flip-flop those. The French comes the week before, but the French Throwdown. Yeah, but the French Throwdown is taking a full gambit of masters athletes as well. Again, they had their own qualifier earlier this year.
Wow. Okay.
Remember? So again, probably missed that one, but they also hold we can invite people from quarterfinals like statement, as like backfill, right? And then last but not least, we have the LATAM Masters Championship in Colombia, June 12th through 14th. And that's really kind of the last chance, right? That is it for Masters athletes.
And they had a qualifier.
They did have a qualifier. I remember that one.
Yeah. So that's the part I think we're going to have to figure out as a community with all these qualifiers. I'm not sure I love it. I'm just being honest. Like the qualifier is the open. The qualifier is quarterfinals. So I know some of my compatriots might disagree with me, but that is my stance.
Could they say, this is our event? We are a gateway to some game spots, but this is our event that we're running. We would like to run the qualifier in our own way to test athletes that we feel will qualify to our event. I mean, we want to control the process. Could be
if I can
without
yeah,
getting
well,
in trouble.
If I can just be blunt, it's a financial thing. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, $20 or how many euros at a time? Sure, that adds up.
I'm a no BS guy. Like I'm going to shoot you guys straight. Like these events cost a lot of money. Like whatever you think they cost, triple it. Like, and that's not an exaggeration.
Okay.
So for them and for all of us, really, qualifiers are a way to offset the cost. Just straight up.
In a perfect world, cost aside, these events could just say, hey, okay, open, quarterfinals. We're quickly send out a lot of emails, and there's a lot of back and forth with backfilling and this. There you have your field. We could do it that way. But the revenue goes to HQ, doesn't come to them. So
exactly.
Man, ideal perfect world, some of that revenue goes out and about to these qualifiers. Like there's a grant given to qualifiers that are stepping up to the plate to provide this experience. But that's really, really noble. That would be very noble, beyond noble. So that's fair. It is fair. However,
it builds the community. Why not?
It does. It really does.
You've added qualifiers. Remember, we went, a year or so without Quarterfinals. You added quarterfinals back in. That layered in some more people that might not have paid the $50. Now, granted, semifinals last year was 100, but you had a much smaller pool. Your quarterfinals took a lot of people, and there was pretty good uptake, I think, if you looked across.
Oh my gosh, it was huge. And I am even being in our gym with guys that would maybe not have even done it. There was our baseball player Austin actually qualified for semifinals, like 1949th place out of 2000.
Good.
Dude qualified for semis. He's like, should I do it? I'm like, yes. Are you kidding me? You're 26. Of course you should do it. I'll do them with you, and I'll be done. That'll be in June, individual semifinals for him.
Yeah.
I mean, I was glad to have quarterfinals back. I am grateful to have in-affiliate semifinals. I am super grateful to have in-person semifinals. And, Micah, I know for me, the primary reason I'm going to California is because I ideally want to go out, punch my ticket, so I have the rest of the qualifier season to support athletes. I want to be at Magic City in a support role, support the event, support our athletes at the event, all the Masters athletes there. I really want to go and celebrate that event, hopefully having punched my ticket. If not, I'm going to be there 90%. The other 10% of my brain is going to be thinking, I got to do in-affiliate semifinals. I can't believe it. Okay, let's do this. But no, I want to be there to support and then to support athletes through in-affiliate semifinals and beyond, because I am super excited about this season. I'm excited for what this brings to us, the experiences it'll bring, the battles on the competition floor. There's going to be some really great footage of athletes in all these age groups battling for the first time in CrossFit history for a spot at the games in an in-person competition. Those are some pretty special events. And I know that you are bringing things from historical CrossFit events.
Yes.
I think Del Mar, I think Joe mentioned that they're going to bring some of the history from that particular event to that competition. So I'm becoming studious of that. It makes for fun, hopefully a fun show and a fun experience, and something very, very different for our qualification season this year.
Yeah.
Jason.
I'm down.
2 words. Snatch ladder.
Oh my God.
In Del Mar. Who doesn't remember that? I mean,
I do. I know
everyone does.
To your point, we have celebrated the elites with some very memorable semifinals events and qualifications over time. Somebody coming from way back on the last event, or some of those magic moments. Now, the age groups get to do that, and I think that's really can tell a good story. I hope media can pick up on that.
I'm going to give props to Micah, who has a media team, and I'm sure you're doing this again, but I know you have a media team that is very involved in the community event. I imagine that it's going to be similar for the Masters event, and
it's bigger than ever.
You guys create some amazing images. So to see Masters athletes in the venue that you're creating or in the event that you're creating and have that, all captured by your media team, it's going to be really, really cool stuff.
When does this podcast come out, Jason?
Whenever we want to, either tonight, likely tomorrow. What you got? What you thinking?
April 3rd. Okay.
I was going to share our announcement, but I didn't know if it would be posted in time.
It'll be out tomorrow at the latest.
Okay. Well,
it's April 3rd.
Well, then, you know what? You should subscribe to Boulder Athlete and Magic City, because we got a little something coming for you in the next couple of days.
It is cool. I hear what you're saying.
Okay.
It is cool.
Yeah,
it is very cool.
You're catching what I'm putting down.
I know I'm with you.
All right.
Yeah, Mike and I did a little something earlier this week.
I will look forward to it. Excellent.
It's really fun. It's really fun.
Leave him with a cliffhanger.
I actually have said item right over here on my desk, actually. So again, you'll know afterwards, Rick, but no one gets to know yet. Yeah, it's going to get framed. I throw on my wall behind me. Well, gents, I really appreciate you taking time to come on the show.
Thank you.
Rick, thanks for making the time as well. I think we've got a fun season ahead. And to those listeners, if you're still with us, subscribe to the YouTube channel, leave comments. We respond to every comment below. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast app, jump over to the YouTube channel. And if you have questions, just fire off in the comments and we will get back to you. All right, boys.
Micah, thank you very much.
Thank y'all.
This episode is powered by Thirdsy, your go-to for game-changing sleep recovery. Imagine hitting your workouts harder and waking up feeling unstoppable. That's what Thirdsy's PM Recovery Collagen does for me. It's like pre-workout, but for your sleep, fueling your body's active recovery processes without any melatonin or sedatives. Just 1 scoop before bed supports deeper, more restorative sleep so you can crush your fitness goals. Ready to experience the best rest and recovery? Visit Thirdsy.com and transform your nights into recovery power hours. Thirdsy, because sleep is the ultimate recovery tool. That's THIRDZY.com. Save 20% with code JASONZZZ. Let's get into the show. Thanks for tuning in to the Masters in Motion podcast. We'd be so grateful if you could take a moment to leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or your preferred podcast app. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us reach more listeners and grow our Masters community. Until next time, get bolder, not older.